start, and now we're live. Did you turn off the telephone and put it in the closet so it doesn't like ruin us or anything?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Turn off my phone too. Well, hello everybody, and welcome. Today is Sunday, the 17th of February. So, what is this? The last time was our 41st broadcast, or wait, last time was our 40th.
I don't keep track.
I don't remember. I just remember somebody congratulated me like time before last, or maybe this time, and they're like, "Congratulations on your 40th," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not 40 yet," and they're talking about my Twitch. So there you go. And as you might see, this is the painting. I have only pretty much been working here on Twitch. This is the first time I've done that, where I've got the same painting and I just keep working on it each time we broadcast. I thought that would be interesting for people because you'd see it from the beginning when I sketched it. If you're new to this channel, you can go back in the archives or go see Jasmine Becket with one T, at YouTube, and you could see all the things that led up to this painting. So, Shannon, sorry, we have a lot of terrible cats in our house who cause trouble, so I might yell a lot.
Oh, I think that was real, actually.
Was that real? What was
Yeah.
she doing? Tygria's a good girl.
The sunshine was chasing her.
Sunshine was probably
Hello,
chasing
everyone.
her.
We got some people in the room.
Oh, excellent! Yay! It's kind of a weird weekend if you're not in the United States. This is a 3-day weekend because it is President's Day tomorrow.
Right, which means no posting.
Which means it's a bank holiday if you're in England. Basically, it's like, oh, the post office will be closed. A lot of shops will be closed, and kids don't have to go to school. Some places they do. I don't know how they decide that. I will be at Epcot tomorrow, so that's kind of fun. It'll probably be pretty busy too. Haven't we been there before on President's Day at Disney World, and it was like super crowded?
I don't remember.
Or am I confusing that with Martin Luther King Day? I don't know. At some point in the January, February swath of that. Well, that's probably why I'm there on a Monday instead of like a regular Monday.
Oh,
and I heard a magic
Nutgator.
noise already. Who's that from?
Nutgator.
Oh, thank you very much. But here we have Absence Reflections, and I haven't really done a whole lot. I think I continued working a little bit after we ended the broadcast last time, which would be exactly 1 week minus 4 hours ago. So not that much further along, but she is getting a lot closer to being finished. You might see her hair here. It looks like she's got like this weird green ectoplasm thing happening. That's actually going to be modulated more to match the rest of her hair, but that's a part of her hair. It's almost like she has a highlight or a gray streak in her hair, but it's being green because the sky behind her is very green. So during this broadcast, I will be working more on finishing up some of the shading on the column and the curtain behind her, and also on her dress. Several people had emailed me and wanted to talk about painting fabric and making things look like they're embroidered, which is always kind of a fun thing to do as a painter. Those of you who have known me for 20 odd years remember I used to have two parts of my eBay store. I had Strangeling's Vault, which was old clothing or restored antique clothing that I would kind of sew and stuff. I bet you remember that, man. We used to go to antique stores all over the place, and I'd pick up old fabrics and make stuff out of it. And then I did painting, of course, too. And as time went by, obviously, painting was kind of the thing I ended up doing, but I'm still very interested in cloth and clothing. So I like doing really intricately sort of embroidered or old-fashioned sort of styles of clothing. And that's fun to paint. In fact, it's a lot easier than actually sewing it. I'd rather just paint it. It's funny, there are some people I think I met who started collecting my stuff when I would make clothing, and then they have gone on to follow my artwork over the past 24 years, or however long it's been I've been on eBay. So it's like, hey, they like my clothes and they like my artwork, so that's awesome. But yeah, way more, like 2/3 of my life almost. It's been a long time. I think there is a lot of crossover, though, between something like fashion and something like painting, visual arts, and...
You hear the birdies, Jasmine?
I was going to say, are those the little Carolina wrens that are out there? Or is that the warblers? We had a whole bunch of the wood warblers pass through when they were doing their migration from the southern South America and Central America up through Florida. They are adorable. They look like tiny little birdies that you would see at a pet store or something. They don't look like something you would see in the wild, and they come to our yard. And they make cute noises. Hopefully they're not yelling at that gray and white kitty who was out there earlier. We do get a lot of wild kitty cats in our yard, but they don't seem to care about the birds, so that's good.
No, our birds are very lucky.
Yeah, we have a very, very good backyard habitat here. We have a lot of natural plants and bird seeds and things that we plant specifically in our yard for the animals that live here. So we get a lot of nature back there. So if you ever hear us like yelling at raccoons or something, we're not just play acting. They actually are. This is my window to the outside.
They usually come out a little later.
But yeah, I usually after it's dark. That's when all the proto mammals come out. And our possums.
The possums leave evidence.
The possums do leave evidence. Raccoons leave evidence too, but
the possums leave evidence.
A couple of the possums were in love the other day too, so that might mean more possums.
Yeah, we're hoping to see
mama possums
with baby possums.
If you don't know about possums, when there's a mama possum, they'll have like 5 babies, and they'll just kind of live on their back for a while. They hang on to them like little monkeys, and they just kind of. The mama will walk around and they'll have a whole bunch of babies.
So I hope everyone had a good Valentine's Day, if that's something that you celebrate.
Yes, that's something that's happened in the past week, roughly.
Yeah, if you had a good Valentine's Day, that's awesome.
That's good. We did. We didn't go out. We just kind of took the day. I think we talked about this last time. We took the day off the internet, mostly, except in the morning, and had a fun day, and we ordered takeaway. Usually I'm the cook around here, so that was kind of a vacation for me.
We did the Uber Eats thing.
We did Uber Eats. They don't give us a kickback. They should, but they don't. And that actually worked out pretty good. I get spoiled, for example, when I'm at my London studio, because you can get like a billion places will do takeaway and deliver to you, and that's really neat. But if you're kind of in the middle part of Florida, there isn't a whole lot of places that deliver. So that worked out really good. We got Indian food. It's awesome.
So happy Sunday, Vampy.
Yes, happy Sunday. But yeah, this is one of those weekends we get 2 Sundays here
for the subscription.
America. Oh, thank you very, very much.
And thank you, Jane, for the bits earlier. We appreciate it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, extra bits, they're on my way. I will take your bits. Right now, this is pretty much what I've worked on since the last time. I think I've showed you guys. Before, her hair just was kind of a generic big mass of just a dark color. I've slowly kind of been sort of matching the where the clouds turn into her hair. I've taken a color and I mixed it with some Van Dyke Brown, a little bit of Payne's Gray, and taken the color I used on the darkest part of the clouds and blended that into her head. When you don't make a really super sharp line, which can work really good in some senses, but not in this painting really, I'm kind of, it's like the dark color of her hair kind of turns into where the cloud is. So that makes it look a little bit more realistic, even though obviously it's not a photograph, it's not trying to be photorealistic. But the dark part of her hair is matching the dark part of the clouds there. And as you get closer to the area around her face, I'm going to make that more of a higher contrast black-brown sort of, and maybe some hyper green.
That should make it a bit more dramatic.
Yeah, and that will look like it's not like a circle that parts of it are dark and parts of it are light, like her hair. It will look like parts of her hair are closer to you and parts of it are farther away and are interacting with the background behind her. I'm trying to think, what did I do on this one? I've been working on a Disney project most this week, so I haven't been working on the specific painting, so I haven't done a whole lot since you saw it last. But I put some peaches and pinks on her face. I don't know how. I have so many lights here to make this even show up on Twitch. Can you see how there's a little peachy, pinky sort of
gives her color on her face.
On her cheeks.
Very cute.
Kind of like I wish I had more of. Yeah, it looks really good on her. And I think I added a little bit more light in her eyes. I added a tiny little reflective kind of, almost like a half moon on the lower part of her cornea there, because as we've talked about before, one of our weird magical light sources in this painting is going to be the absinthe sort of dispenser fountain that's right here. I also changed the fountain a bit. Originally I had it like with little spigots, like a faucet on the side, and I was looking at it, I'm like, usually when you make a cocktail with absinthe, you have water first you have absinthe first and then you put water into it. And it's like, well, if it's all glowing green, that kind of implies the water is glowing green, and that's kind of like radioactive or something. So I was like, I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm going to make it more of like a tureen, like something that you would hold a liquid in as opposed to something you would dispense liquid from. So that's just me being a nerd about stuff. But that's why, if you remember last time I had little fountains on the, or spigots, faucets on the side, I've changed that. And I've also kind of reinforced, I took some white paint and put that over the thing that looks like a little tiny champagne flute. So other than that, I don't
Tammy
think
says
I've
she loves the
done a
style of
lot.
the picture.
Oh, thank you very
I asked
much.
people in the room, has anyone checked out the Hot Totes store?
Oh my gosh. You know, like the past 3 days, half of my correspondence with people have been about Hot Totes. If you don't know what Hot Totes is, and I hope I'm saying that right. I assume it's like, or it could be Oat Totes or Hot Totes, or there are ways you could pronounce it. It's Hautetes, like oat, like oat cuisine, but it doesn't have an E because it's totes, like tote bags, and you put the E in the tote bag, so it's a combination of those two words. So fancy bags, that's what I would call it. But anyways, a lot of you guys, did you put a link up? Okay. Because some of you might remember this from a few years ago. My friend Melissa has this shop, which is very popular on Etsy. And she had some medical problems and stuff for the past couple years, and she had to close her store on Etsy. But now she is back. And those of you who have been asking about things like tote bags and little bags you put your cell phones in and stuff. And also like super fancy purses. They do, I printed some of these out. I'm not good at doing internet stuff. I printed some of these pictures out from the internet to show you what these look like. And they customize these for you. Like, she can put, these are all handmade in America, which is an odd thing to get merchandise like that now. But you can put little clasps on them, and she'll put little pretty keys and decorations. And you're like, hey, I want an extra pocket, or I want my name on the bottom of the bag, or they can do all sorts of stuff. And I've just sent her a whole bunch of scans of my original paintings to print out on them, and they have turned out so cool. And for the past 2 or 3 days, it has been amazing. So many people, mostly on Facebook, and she has other artists up there. She's got Amy Brown up there. If you're a fairy person, that's a really cool one. She's got a bunch of them up there. And just regular tote bags like you would almost use for like groceries or book bags. And they are so cool. And she does a lot of the graphic design, so it's like not just on the outside, it's not just stamped on there like Zazzle. Nothing against Zazzle, but these are actually handcrafted so that everything makes sense. She makes like little, these are like for putting your iPhone and your wallet in and stuff. And there are so many. I don't want to print out of them because otherwise I would talk about nothing but that all day.
Oh, Buttercup's very happy they're back.
Oh, good. Yeah, so many people were used to getting them, and in the past, they have been available from the Pop Gallery at Disney Springs at Disney World here in Florida. I don't know if they're probably not there yet because they just reopened 2 days ago. So they're probably, if it's wholesale stuff, like at shops. But in the meantime, you can go to their Etsy store, Hot Totes, and they make little wallets, and they put lots of lovely details. I love this Guinevere one. Guinevere had green eyes, and she's got a fancy little design there. They can put, like, hey, I need a pocket that's the size of this phone or whatever, and they will put that in there. You can add all sorts of details. And it's a real person sewing that in their house here in America. It's not like far away. You can just get it done. But they will ship worldwide. So if you're in Australia, they will mail them to you.
Jasmine, Ricky's watching us from London.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Good to see you from London. One of these times we'll be broadcasting from London, won't we, Maddie? I posted about that today on my Patreon.
Yeah, hopefully. I might just leave some gear there.
That's what we're. Did you even read my Patreon post this morning?
I read
the first part of it, and then you got tired.
No,
everybody does.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I talked.
I'm sorry, I hadn't had a chance to read it fully.
That's fine, honey. But you probably also know because we've discussed this. Well, I was talking first about how I want to set up my giant easel. My Patreon people know my giant easel that is like 8 times as big as this one here that I usually paint at. We're going to make up a separate Twitch setup with like cameras and everything. So we're planning in the future to do half a broadcast from across my studio, sometimes from there, And then back to this one here for smaller pieces like this. So I'll have like a big giant painting for a while. You can watch me over there, and then I'll come back over here, work on a small painting. And that way I can start working on things for my gallery show coming up in 2020, which sounds like a long time ago, or a long time in the future rather, but it is not that long in the future, so I need to start working on that. And it's going to be at the Corey Helford Gallery in California and Los Angeles, so I need to start working on big paintings for that show.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be doing half the time over at my big easel, half the time here. And then we want to also set that up in London when we're in the UK to have Twitch there. Instead of taking a whole bunch of wires and cameras, if there's anything they don't want to see in security, like at the airport, it's a whole bunch of weird, confusing wires and big boxes that look like they have electronics when you're trying to go through the metal detector. So I would like to have a separate setup there than I have here. It's bad enough I have to bring my paints and stuff. That always confuses people. So in the coming year, or at least within the coming couple of years, I'm going to get one set up, maybe in the next month or so, at my other, you can't see, but I'm pointing at my other part of my studio here in Florida, where I do really big stuff, and then part of the time here at my usual one. We've done one from Kansas City, haven't we, Liv?
Yes.
We did one, was that the first time I did a custom one, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, because I remember my mom had texted me or something, and I was trying to explain to her what we were doing, because she's on the adjacent property to my my Kansas studio. She's like, hey guys, are you doing something? I'm like, yeah, we're broadcasting stuff on Twitch, Mom, that sort of thing. And yeah, so eventually, if I can do this from every studio, we can get back into the routine, as a lot of you have emailed me and pointed out, of doing it twice a week instead of doing it once a week. Right now, we've been trying to do our broadcast just once a week, and it's when I'm at this part of my Florida studio and something's already on the easel. If I can do it from any of my easels at any of my studios, then I could do this twice a week, and that would be kind of a more fun sort of routine thing, and maybe Twitch would want to make me a partner or something, so here's something. Now that we know how to do it, we could kind of set up the exact same thing.
Yes.
That would be fun too. Well, to be fair, if we're doing it from London or from the UK, that would be a different time zone. So those of you in the UK right now who have to stay up late if you're trying to chat with us here or watch me painting, you guys would be on schedule, and people in America would be, oh, we've got to set our alarms or drink a bunch of coffee, or, you'd be off by a bit. So that kind of makes it more fair also. Because a lot of you guys and a lot of my patrons and stuff are from Europe or even Asia or obviously the UK. So hopefully that should work out good. So stay tuned on that one.
That'll be fun.
I think so. And then we wouldn't have to carry our weird cameras and go through security again.
Right.
Even little things like when we go to Disney and we bring our lights and our pens and stuff, it's always hard to explain that.
What did they say every time?
I say, oh, you brought your office with you.
Yes.
When we go, for example, we're at Epcot tomorrow at Disney World, right? We don't have to, but we choose to bring a bunch of our lights, like the lights I use here, because it's dark out here in Florida. If it's 8 o'clock at night in February, it's gonna be dark out in Florida, and they have lights in the booths and stuff at Epcot, but not outside. It's hard to try to write somebody's name and happy graduation. So we come
very prepared.
So we bring all those things with us. Matt's got a messenger bag that he brings with him.
So I have two little lights that I use that run off of USB.
Yeah, you can charge them up in the day. They don't even take any plugins. They're really nice lights. And we've got a cup full of different types of pens because people will bring books or canvases or original paintings. They want something written on it. It depends what sort of pen color I have or what the pen looks like. And we want to bring those with us from our house across the street from Disney World. We'd like to bring those with us. But when we go through the security, which is, it's not as mean or rude. They're actually very nice as opposed to something like airport security. But you have to go through hey, put your bag over here and do this when you go to Disney World. Obviously, it's a big place with hundreds of thousands of people. So when we do that, every time they're like, what's all this for? What are these lights? What are these wires? And we explain. It's yeah, and I got to sign stuff. And And they always say, hey, Matt, or they don't say Matt because they don't know who he is. And they're like, did you bring the whole office with you? You could leave that at home. You're on vacation. It's like, we kind of are on vacation all the time, but we also are kind of working all the time.
And then they say, why don't you go through the cast member entrance?
And then they say, why don't you go through the cast member? And I'm like, because I'm not technically a cast member. I have been before. I've been a cast member before. Long.
Me too.
Jesus, 20 years ago. But, yeah, I have to go through the same entrance as everybody else. And I've got my annual pass and everything. But it is kind of funny to go in there carrying a bunch of stuff when everybody else has just like got bottles of water and their kid and like a little wagon they're pulling and, you know, a bunch of gluten-free snacks or something. So I understand where they're coming from, but we're trying to make that, not for Disney, but going through the airport security, going to different countries, obviously to my UK studio, trying to make that a little bit smoother transition. And also not saying, sorry guys, no Twitch, because we're in England. We'd like to be able to do that when we are at my other studio in England and just broadcast like we would do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be
if
great.
we're just going to spend the plan is to spend half our life in
Oh yeah. I'm trying to balance it out about 50-50. It's like half my time over there, half my time by here. I mean, America in general, because I do have a Kansas City studio, obviously, a lot of you guys know me from there, and then Florida mostly, but then also our London place. So we just gotta balance it out. I promise you, it sounds way more fancy than it is. Like, oh no, I got all these studios, but no, it's very, very pied de terre. It's very rudimentary. It is not as cool as you would think. No, I shouldn't say that. It's way cooler than you think it is. But I think that would be fun, and I bet some of my UK fans and friends and family members and things here would think that would be cool, that I could do that on your time schedule when I am on your time schedule. And that just makes sense. Oh, thank you, Magic Noise. A bit more of a curl over here, and if you can tell, I've got kind of... Again, I was talking about how I'm making kind of the darker bits of her hair nearer to where I say the camera, like she's getting her picture taken, but towards the viewer. But I also need to put some more shape into this, because when it's kind of a black amorphous sort of blob, it starts to catch your eye, and I don't want anybody's eye to be caught on anything upon first viewing before her eyes are. I always want the first thing that people see when they look at one of my paintings is to scope around, look for the human face, and look at the eyes. And I think, with my paintings at least, I think that is one of the best things you can do with one of my pictures. So
Jasmine,
I don't want to make anything too confusing over here. Yeah, what's up?
Siren Moonbee is asking, how many absinthe paintings do you have? And we were trying to figure that out. There's tons.
Oh, you know, I was thinking about that this morning when I was deciding what I was going to work on Twitch. Okay.
I'm going to do a search for absinthe and put it in.
I was going to say, if you're going to include things like tiny treasures or faces of fairy or mini paintings, that would throw it off. But if you mean like ones that are ones I have prints and canvases.
I'll put a link. It probably doesn't have all of them. But
what do you?
I just searched absinthe on the website.
Oh, on Strangeling.com.
Yeah, Strangeling.
Yeah, that won't bring up things like faces of fairy for some reason.
No.
But if you just do Google images, Jasmine Becket or Becket-Griffith or any combination of that. Becket has one T. It will probably bring up even more things than that, because I've done ACEOs and mini paintings and tiny treasures and stuff like that were studies probably for the previous paintings, and then I go in some weird direction and it doesn't even turn into what I was doing. But if you're only talking about ones I've done prints of that you might see at a gallery or at a special show or something, I would probably say maybe 9. Does that sound right, Manny?
I'd say that's a good ballpark.
I've got one of the first ones here. You all who have been watching this here on Twitch, I probably already showed this to you, but this is a painting I did. This was let's see, 2001. What is that? 18 years ago. Oh my gosh. Okay. Absinthe Afternoon was one of the first ones I did that I actually marketed and published and had in books and postcards and t-shirts and stuff like that. So this is one of the very first ones, and this is kind of the inspiration of my own paintings. It's funny to get inspiration from your own paintings that this painting is based on. So if you're just joining us here, you can see this, or she's a, kind of grumpy looking, green-eyed, dark-haired lady, as one does, with a little absinthe spoon in a little glass of absinthe that doesn't have a fountain or a thing, but she's got kind of an oddly sort of floating countertop, like in a lot of the turn of the century sort of Van Gogh and whatnot paintings that you would see, where it's like, oh, where's that counter going? How come everybody does that with absinthe? Because it's like 200% alcohol or whatever. But in the background of this one, this old painting, this is just a piece of paper I print out. Somebody bought this 20 years ago, apparently. But I had that burgundy color that I really like with that sort of absinthe green. Absinthe, whatever you say.
It's both.
Yeah, it depends where you're from. It's both. But that sort of greenish yellow, if you look at my old painting, that was probably like 3 brush strokes, the background, which is great. And I really like how that looks. I took like a wide brush and it was like, kind of Bob Ross that out there with a wet brush probably. And so it doesn't have a lot of detail in it. But with the background of this one I'm working on now, which is Absinthe Reflections, as if it is a reflection on the first one I did, it's kind of a self-aware kind of meta joke for me, and that makes me happy and it's fun to paint. But on this one, I've put more realistic sort of, I've got masking tape on the back so it might make noise, but really realistic looking clouds, and then the hills and valleys and little rivers and mountains and all that. I kind of put that in there as opposed to one I did 20 years ago where I've got like, there's a hill, there's a hill. Kind of looks like the Flint Hills in Kansas, and then green and storm. So this is like a grown-up version of this. Yeah.
Kelly Sarah said, after telling Ian for years we need a coffee table, and him saying, no, we don't, he told me just before Twitch we need a coffee table because they have one on Strangeland UK with Jasmine's art.
Oh my gosh, that is pretty cool. And yes, they do. And I think you can only get that in England unless you want to pay like $1 million to get it shipped. That is pretty nifty.
And Jasmine.
Yeah.
Lucindle's grandma used to make absinthe.
Oh, really?
And son of a xenomorph has tried absinthe.
I've had absinthe multiple times. Like I said, 10 years ago it was illegal in America, and now you can buy it at Disney World, like at the Abracadabra or at the Edison at Disney Springs has like an absinthe fountain. I mean, it just shows you how things like that work. But that is really cool.
Yeah, Siren Moonbee says, I love absinthe, even the blackberry version you can buy.
Yeah.
But we usually buy it from Ibiza as super cheap and 90% proof.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. That's
absinthe,
probably what. Yeah,
absinthe with brewed beer.
That's interesting. Is it kind of like a Jaeger bomb, but it's with beer?
It would probably be much like a Jaeger bomb.
My father's side, Robin, my stepmom has made absinthe before, and I used to make absinthe when I was in my early 20s. That was another endeavor of mine, but it was before it was completely okay to sell in America.
And that was, we got
it's the wrong
that
time.
From Czech Republic.
We used to import it from the Czech Republic because you could buy it in America as a collectible. And
thank you, Black Orchid Fairy.
You couldn't sell it, but you could buy it from the Czech Republic and whatever.
And Princess Bullets had absinthe a few times, had lots of arguments, and seen a few different ways on how to serve it, including the sugar.
Yes, and that is one of those things where you can very much nerd out, and you're like, no. And we have multiple absinthe spoons. That is, for those who don't know, if you see this thing, somebody asked me earlier on Facebook if that was a knife. That is not a knife or a dagger. That is an actual absinthe spoon. It looks more like a spatula than a spoon.
Yes, and Absinthe Mermaid holds one too.
What's that, love?
Absinthe Mermaid.
Oh yes, Absinthe Mermaid. Oh, that's a good one.
People thought it was a knife.
Yeah, a lot of people think that's a knife, like it's a Juliet scene and she's stabbed herself. I'm like, no, it's just an absinthe spoon. She's just kind of drunk or something.
That's a freaky looking knife if it would be.
But they make these lovely little spoons, and what you do is you put a sugar cube on it because absinthe, again, I like absinthe, but it tastes like NyQuil mixed with Jägermeister. It is strong and very herbal and very green.
Shaylee says, I drink absinthe by accident once.
Oh,
I was drinking anyway, and someone brought it out. So,
yeah.
So whilst I don't recall much of what happened, it sure was magical.
Nice. Yeah. It's like thinking you're gonna have a beer and all of a sudden somebody gives you like a vodka or something.
Creepy. What Kazumaka says, I was hammered from absinthe after consuming half a bottle through an open wound?
Like through your... Like you hurt your foot and they poured absinthe? Like, is it like in old Western movies where you get a wound and they pour whiskey in it so it won't hurt because they didn't have disinfectant then?
Kelly Sarah has an absinthe liquid in her e-cig.
Oh, like it tastes or smells like that? Okay. Well, basically, if you don't know, absinthe is anisette. It's a lot like pastis. If you're in France and you have pastis, right? Like the green liqueur. It tastes like licorice, like black licorice. That's the closest thing I could say.
Oh, hi, Jaybird.
Hello.
It was a sour beer with absinthe. I guess that was the Jagerbomb.
Ooh.
I had absinthe once in college. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, here's an art question.
Oh, yay, all right.
How many years of painting did it take you to get from your level in the old painting to what you can do now?